Hey guys, Clay here. We've got Rockslide Engineering's Gen 3 JL step slider in the shop, and I'm going to show you how to install it. So for this installation, we're going to be using a 1/2 inch breaker bar, an 1¼ inch open end wrench, but any large wrench will do, a 1/2 inch drive and a 1/4 inch drive, and then a 1/2 inch extension and a 1/4 inch extension, a 1/2 inch ratcheting wrench, a 7/16 ratcheting wrench, a flathead screwdriver, an 18mm 1/2 inch socket, and then a 1/2 inch 10mm 8mm 1/4 inch socket, and a sharp pair of scissors. Now make sure to stay subscribed to our channel for all the latest content. Now let's go ahead and get started. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is lay your harness out and get familiar with all the plugs and wires and where they go. Now Rockslide Engineering does include some detailed color images in their instructions, and they're really helpful. Now next to me I've got the passenger side wire. On the other side we've got the driver side wire. This is going to be the front of the Jeep. This is going to be towards the back by the B pillar. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this passenger side wire, we're going to run this outside the Jeep along the frame rail, and we're going to feed this up through the inner fender well to the battery, and we're going to connect this. So now I've got a welding rod here that I put a bend in just so I don't lose it, and I fed this harness up above the body mounts. And it depends on what inner fender liner you have. We have aftermarket ones, but I've just taped the harness to the other side of this rod. You can use a coat hanger or whatever. And if you just look down there when you're feeding this back through, you'll see where it comes up, and then just pull the rod out. And what we're gonna try to do is just fish this harness through here. There's the little fuse block on there that's really gonna cause the problems, but it'll work its way through. And then I'm going to make sure we're behind this wire here. And we can remove our tape. And basically this positive is going to go to that terminal right there, and this negative is going to go on this body bolt right here. But the first thing we're going to do is remove the fuse per the instructions, and we'll install this at the end. So now we're going to hook up the ground first. So now we'll install the positive. So now we've run our wires to the battery, and we've gone down our inner fender liner. We've come up along that passenger side frame rail. Now, like I said, keep in mind you need to be above those body mounts so that we're up close to the body. You'll see a cross member towards the back on this B pillar. You're going to have to feed this harness over the gas tank. There's enough room. It's really not that difficult. And then feed the harness up over the cross member, and then it'll exit the Jeep on the driver's side right here by the rear door. Now this lets me explain a little bit better what this harness is actually going to do. We're going to feed these 3 wires on this harness up through a grommet, through the floor pan. This long wire here is going to go along the inside of the sill plate, and this is what's going to attach to our kill switch. Now that kill switch will let us disable the rockers whenever we're off-road so that they don't want to open, and these are the 2 actuator plugs. So let's go ahead and remove that grommet and feed all these wires up through the floor pan. So now I'm in the rear driver's side, and this is the inside of the plastic trim. We're just going to pull back on it, kind of up and out at the same time. Like there's one that comes up in the back, and then the clips will just pop out. And what we're trying to do is get to this grommet right here. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove that grommet, and we're going to feed our wires up through there. So now we're going to feed all these wires through this grommet. And then we're just going to work that grommet in to help protect these wires. Repeat that process on the passenger side, and then we're going to move to the front. So now we're in the front driver's side, and we need to remove all of this plastic so that we can feed that kill switch wire up and our sensor wire. So I'm just going to push kind of in this section and start removing some of those plastic clips. And I think that's enough room. I can feed the wires in through there. We'll work our way to the front. There we go. So we're still in the front driver's side, and I'm going to use this clip removal tool. We're just going to pull this plug out of here. So, and then once that's gone, we can take this off, which will free all that up, and then that just gives you a little bit more room with this panel to feed that wire through, right through there. So now I've already taped those wires to that welding rod and fed that through the back. It just makes it easier while you're fishing wires through stuff. And this is that kill switch wire that we're just going to keep feeding through here. All the way up to the front. Now we can put our bracket on the OBD2 sensor, and we can install our kill switch. So now we're still up on the driver's side front. We're by the OBD connector. We're going to remove this bolt so that we can attach the kill switch bracket. So now we're going to put the bolt back through this hole on the bracket and reinstall it. go ahead and feed our wires through the bracket. And our instructions say that this kit comes with a 2-prong switch. We've actually got a 4-prong switch and 3 wires. 2 of these are going to kill the circuit, and 1 of these wires is going to light the switch up. So for right now, I'm just going to do the black and the red on one side and the light on the other. We'll test this once we get everything hooked up, and we may need to switch some of this around. So now we're in the front driver side still, and we're going to attach the switch that goes below the striker, and it's attached with double-sided tape. So we're going to take some alcohol and just clean underneath there real well. And then this is that little switch I was talking about, so we're going to clean the back of that. And then it comes with these little squares. This is the double-sided tape, so we'll pull half of that off. And then we're just going to place this right underneath the striker. Push on it pretty good. And then there's this other little foam piece that's got tape on it too. So what we're going to do is clean all around here, because we're going to run that right down here and around this metal through the plastic. So once you pull that off, push that up to the wires. Just push it down. And then we're going to plug in our switch. And we'll tuck that behind the plastic trim, get it out of the way. And then we'll move to the magnet that goes on the door. So now we're on the front driver's side door, and what we need to do is use some double-sided tape to stick this magnet right there. It needs to be about a 1/4 inch below that bolt and about an 1/8 inch offset to the inside. So I'm going to remove this. There's this foam pad that's got a clear side and a blue side. I'm going to remove the clear side and go ahead and stick that to the magnet. Now I'm going to take and leave that on there and take some blue painter's tape and just loop around and make like another sticker just to test this. We're going to do this to all 4 doors so we make sure our magnet location is right. This is what tells the switch we just put on to work or not. So if this is off center or it's not coming in contact with that switch, the system's not going to work. So now we'll clean that with some isopropyl alcohol. And then now we'll move on to the rear door. So now we're at the driver's side rear door. We're on the bottom hinge. We're going to install this magnetic switch on the top side of this bottom hinge with that double-sided tape, just like so. So we need to clean that off like we did the front. And we're going to apply that sticker right there. Now, I'm putting this switch like a little bit off center from the bolt. Like if you put it straight on with the bolt, just a little bit to the inside. Press that down. And then we've got our plug for the back. Remove this tape backing and stick this, and we're trying to go right under there. And So now we can put our magnet on the door, and before I reinstall all this plastic, we're going to check everything and make sure we don't need to make any adjustments. So now let's go ahead and put our magnet on the door side. So now we're on that same driver's side rear door. We just installed our jam switch, and we're going to install the magnet on this foam right here. So we're just going to clean that up. Now I did the same thing that I did to the magnet in the front. Just left the blue backing tape on, have some painter's tape on there because we're just going to test the location, make sure it works. Put that right there. So now once you finish this, make sure to install both jam door switches and the magnets on the doors on the passenger side. So now we're on the front of the driver's side, and we're on the front body mount. You have 3 on each side. Use a breaker bar with this. Don't use an impact. I have heard stories of people breaking these bolts because they're in there really tight, and so you can even loosen it up, tighten it back up a little bit, and just work the bolt free. Just take your time. So now once you get the bolt most of the way loose, it's going to feel like it's just spinning and spinning. There's another like washer up in there. So if you put a little bit of pressure on this down, it'll pop out. And what we need to do is, the instructions say that some bolts may have this thread in here, and that washer won't go over the thread so that we can slip the bracket in there. So far all of our bolts have had that. So I think if you have a later model JL, you're going to need to file these threads down on all the body bolts so that the washer will slip past that. So let's go ahead and remove the middle and the rear body bolt. Now make sure to repeat that process on the passenger side. So now these threads are preventing this washer from giving enough space between the washer and the bolt head for the bracket to slip between. So we're just going to file these down. So as soon as that washer comes over those threads, mission accomplished. We just need some space behind that. So before I move on to the next bolt, just a small amount of anti-seize, just so that those bolts don't want to seize up in the body mounts. You guys that live up north will be really glad you did this, because if you ever need to remove them later, they will not come out. So now we'll go ahead and do that to all of our other bolts, and we'll reinstall those loosely, leaving a little bit of space for that bracket. So these are the 3 frame brackets that mount to those body mount bolts that we just removed, filed, and reinstalled. And so this one's taller and shorter. This one's going to go towards the front. Then there's a medium one that's going to be in the middle, and this longer one is going to go towards the rear. And these are going to slip in between that washer and that body bolt. So let's go ahead and install these. So now we're on the driver's side rear body mount bolt. This is that bracket. It's going to slip in between there. And we're going to tighten this up, but not all the way. We're going to leave it just a little loose. It needs to still be able to move in and out. And so then now we'll install the middle bracket and then the front bracket. So now we'll install the middle bracket. And now the front. So now on that front bracket, it won't go in straight on. You need to kind of go at an angle, push the washer up, then get it in place. And then we'll just all right, now we can move on. So now we need to remove these bolts from the pinch weld. So now you can see these studs that are welded to the rocker assembly itself. These are going to fit in those holes that are in the pinch weld, and then those brackets that we just put on there are also going to attach to this rocker guard. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this into place because we're going to actually use it to measure something real quick. All right, and now you can see we've got some blue painter's tape here on the outside of the rocker panel. There's a bulb seal that goes in between this rocker guard and the body, and it's to help keep debris out and just offer a more finished look. It goes on with 3M tape, and so really once you determine where it's going to go and we stick it on there, there's no maneuvering or changing its position. So we're going to go ahead and put that in between the two now. I'm going to mark the tape, we'll cut the tape, we'll pull this off, we'll apply that bulb seal on there, and then we'll reassemble our rocker. So now we're going to line this notch up with this body line right here. And then we'll pull down on the rocker a little bit and we'll get this in position. So now that we got everything lined up, I'm just going to mark my tape. Then we'll pull our rocker off and we'll install it. So now I'm just going to peel the tape back. We've got a nice crisp line. I'm going to cut that. Push that back down. And then we're going to do that on the front piece of tape as well. So now we're going to clean our rocker with alcohol. So now I'm going to start removing some of this backing. Just a little bit. Get it so I can pull it up from the top. And align that notch back up. And make sure we're on our mark. Check the front, pretty good. Like I said, take your time. You got pretty much one shot at this. Now we can reinstall our rocker. Everything lines up pretty good. And it'll hold itself there. And so now we can go ahead and move to the bottom and we can install more hardware. So now we're on the driver's side front again, and we've got the rocker in place. Now there are actually two different size studs. This one towards the back in this front position is larger. The one in the front is smaller. You'll know once you go to install the hardware if you have it mixed up. It'd be really easy to tell. I'm pretty sure that these studs are stainless, so I did put a little anti-seize on the studs just in case we do want to remove it and not have them gall. Now while we're here, we'll go ahead and install the hardware from the rocker to the front body bracket. So now we're in the front body mount bracket to rocker. I've got a little Loctite on this hardware. The bracket should still be loose so you can move it around and line the holes up with the rocker. We're going to go ahead and tighten this up. So now repeat the same process from this body mount bracket to the rocker and the pinch weld bolts and the middle and the rear position on the slider. All right, so we're at the driver's side all the way at the rear of the board, and we're going to plug in the harness to the motor. So that's what this big weather pack plug is we're just going to feed that up through here. Plug this into this module. And then we've got this long plug we're going to feed back through here and plug this in up here. Now you'll see there is an extra plug. This is for the optional lights that we're not running right now, so we're just going to tuck all this up in behind here. And then while we're here, we're going to go ahead and tighten up our body mount bolt. Now you know how tight these were when you took them off. I don't think they need to be that tight, but now we'll move and we'll tighten up the middle body mount bolt and the front body mount bolt, and then we're going to repeat this whole process on the passenger side. So we've got everything plugged in on both sides. We've gone ahead and reinstalled our fuse, and it's time to check the doors and make sure everything works. And it does, works just like it should. Now you can see the magnet here that we've got the blue tape on. We did have to move this a little bit. That's why we used that painter's tape instead of the 3M tape right away. You'll notice that the magnetic switches on the doors are flip-flopped upside down, so they do need to be in a little bit different location. But once you figure out where they need to go, everything should work just like it should. So now we're on the driver's side front door magnet, and I'm just going to make a little mark with a Sharpie on the bottom here, just to let me know where it's at. And we'll pull this off. Go ahead and remove this blue backing tape. Now this is a magnet, so make sure you can see that little indicator at the bottom. Now we'll just repeat that process on the other 3 magnets. All right, so we're on the passenger side now towards that front body mount bolt. And the kit includes this little retaining clip here for the loom, and there's a bolt hole on the body. So we're just gonna put this around our loom, like so, and we'll just pinch it back so we can get the bolt in there. I've already put a little bit of Loctite on this bolt too. Now the kit also includes a bunch of these zip ties. So now we're just going to follow this loom along the frame and zip tie this where we see fit. Once we finish this, we can pop all our plastic trim panels back into place and we're done. Well, there you go, guys. This is a moderate install. Now take your time when you're applying the double-sided tape and make sure not to pinch any of the wires while you're running the harness through the frame. Now there are two accessories for this step. One's going to be a skid plate that bolts along the outside, and the other are going to be plug-and-play lights that once you open the door and the step deploys, the lights come on. Now if you guys found this video helpful, make sure to give us a like, and if you want more information on this product, check out the link in the description below. And as always, if you have any questions at all, give us a call or visit us online. Thanks.